Well, hello, everybody. We have a couple of very special guest stars with us today. What I don't know who she's pointing at. She's
I
pointing
was
at the
just pointing
bottom of the
down,
screen.
pointing this way.
I'm
We
pointing this way. There. Does that work?
okay, it doesn't work on my screen, but it's let's just Brady Bunch this thing.
Yeah. Where's Alice?
There they are. The
I
people
really
that
wish
are
we had been doing that. That would have looked really good. Anyway, today we have with us Vincent Chan and Stephen Levitt. We are very, very happy to have
whoop,
you
whoop,
both
whoop,
with us.
whoop.
Woo!
Whoa, hello, hello.
It's a special day around here.
Yes. Thank you guys for both for joining us today so that we can do a little bit of a hash breakdown. What do we recap? We're just going to
Recap.
chat about what happened yesterday on episode 1 of season 8 of the Great Canadian Baking Show. We got to hurry because I got a schmoo cake in the oven, and apparently it takes 15 minutes to bake, according to some of the bakers. Anyway, what did you guys think of the first episode?
I thought it was great. I thought the new group of people are a lot of fun and they look like they actually get along really well together. So that's
Mhm.
really nice to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt an instant connection. I was talking to Vincent about it actually. Like I felt right away a connection, which doesn't happen every time.
No, it
Mhm.
doesn't.
That's so
No.
true.
And
Yeah,
it was I mean, I'm wondering where the guy's at. I mean, our
Right.
season was the last season that had 5 guys and 5 girls.
Mm.
Then it was 4, 4, 3. I mean,
Yeah.
to all the guys listening, come on, get your game on. Can we get a
Yes.
few more guys in the tent?
You're right. We only have
Yeah.
3 guys in the tent.
But when you look at, the Vancouver auditions, there weren't that many guys
Mm-mm.
that were actually there. So it
What
could
I'm
be,
saying.
yeah. So I think they need to, yeah, get in their kitchen, start baking, and come on down to the auditions. Put your
How can we
applications in.
encourage that? Because they're not going to watch us. If they're not planning on getting into the kitchen and baking.
We do have some male viewership on our
Yeah.
Instagram page. So yeah. But
We'll have to do
yeah,
some kind of a contest or something to get people in the kitchen.
there you go.
Some kind
Yeah,
of
the contest is called the Great Canadian Baking Show.
Oh yeah,
Exactly.
that's right. That
Yeah,
definitely got me in the kitchen.
there you go. I can't believe you've got your schmoo cake in the oven
I
already.
no,
Okay. I'm
I
like,
was
what?
I was joking. No, I don't.
Okay.
I have to
Woo.
pick up a dozen eggs in order to
Yeah.
make it. So
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
that's
And like a kilogram of pecans.
yeah. Although we
We
have it on good authority that we don't need the full 3 cups
Yeah.
of pecans that are listed in the CBC recipe. So I'll go for 2, and we're
Is it 3 cups like ground or is it 3 cups whole?
whole or half actually. You half,
Half.
and then
Half.
they
Like a
end
half.
up they end up getting ground. A lot of
Yeah.
them get
Okay.
ground.
Except for the
All right.
decorative top.
Yes,
Yes, the candied ones.
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
But
Mm.
going back to the bakers, what a
Yes.
great group of what a great group of bakers in that tent this year. And like you, Steve, I also felt that instant connection. Now, I've been following a lot of them on Instagram since they were first released, and we started learning a little bit about them. So, been interacting with them a little bit on Instagram. They're all so lovely. They're crazy talented,
Mhm.
and I think it's going to be a fun season. And I think yesterday's episode really kicked that off. The personalities, I think, really shone in such a short period of time, and limited time that everybody has because there's 10 of them right now. But I think we got a really good little glimpse of all the fun personalities that we'll see this season.
Definitely.
I
And
agree.
this is the point where we should really make a scream out to the CBC to get their
Again,
act
yes.
together. Can we get 90 minutes for at least the first episode? If not the first
Yes.
two, there's
Totally.
10 people, there's 30 bakes. Can we
Yeah.
have a little bit of time? Just a small, little bit, we'll cut into golf or something. No offense.
No
I
offense
know
to
I
Vincent
love
likes to
golf.
golf. I know he likes to golf. Something. Come on.
I think
unplug
this
Chris's ears.
Yeah, that's a great recommendation. I think for the first maybe 5 episodes or something, you could easily do actually the whole show. I think the whole series you could do an hour and a half, quite honestly. But certainly in these earlier episodes, yeah, because you just don't get enough.
No,
It's
you
true.
don't get enough of the baking. You don't get
Mhm,
enough to meet them all. And
mhm.
that's my feeling, at
Yeah,
least for episode 1, maybe episode 2.
yeah,
And then you're okay.
Yeah.
I agree. That's
Yeah.
true. I
I
mean, the
agree.
first couple episodes should be 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
because yeah, I mean, even in our season, everybody got like 5 seconds of screen time, you
Yeah.
know. Not that
Mhm.
that's what we're there for, but at the same time, it would have been nice because if you're off the first one off or the second one off, it's like you
Mm.
kind of didn't get a lot of screen time, which
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
probably deserve to have because you fought your way to get there, you
Yeah.
know. So,
Right.
I
Mhm.
think everybody can see me walking up a street and get the same effect as like the screen time that I got on the show, walking up the lawn,
For the first
So,
episode, yeah.
for
Yeah.
the first
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
But some
definitely.
people do make an impression right away. For me,
Mhm.
Patty,
Yes.
Patty, right?
Love
She,
Yes.
her.
I'm in love with Patty.
Me
Patty
too.
is, she made me laugh.
Yeah.
She's a good baker. She got me going good in that
Yep.
first one. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that she's the best talented. She might be, but just something about her drew me in. So
Yeah.
you do get memories in the first episode for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I found also Regin did that
Mhm.
too, because he's
Yeah.
just such a fun, out there personality. And he's just like, I think you can tell he's just got this zest for life, this joy that just permeates out of every single, pore in his body. He's just such a happy guy. And he's so fun and funny to watch as
And
well.
he's an actor. He's
Mhm.
clearly bringing that talent to the show and just being like, all right, I'm an open book. Let's just do this. And
Mhm.
yeah, we have those kind of personalities as actors.
I agree. I like Rajan a lot. I think he's like a riot.
Uh-huh.
And even things when things were going sideways, it was just like
It's like,
I'm just having a good time.
right?
Kind of like, Steve is kind of like that, and Mando is kind of like that, right? Like and Steven on our season was kind of like
Mhm.
that. They're all
Mhm.
just these big personalities that are having just a great time.
Yeah.
But I think the aside from Rajan, I think the person that left an impression for me was Galum. Uh,
Guillaume.
Guillaume, Guillaume,
Guillaume?
Yes.
yes,
Yep.
Guillaume. Um, he's hot.
Okay, so that's what matters.
Let's cut to the chase, Vincent. That's the only reason why you're watching the Great Canadian Baking
Welcome
Show,
to my
isn't it?
life with Vincent.
It's for the eye candy.
So yeah.
All right, Guillaume, are you listening? I think he's taken, Vincent, and I think that
Yes.
you are also
taken
very
too, aren't
taken.
you?
Yep. I'm just gonna shout out for Phil there.
Went up for a
Um,
bike ride, so I was able to say that.
Yeah.
Walk out the door.
Well, I really am feeling the same thing about all the bakers. It was hard to lose Christine the first episode. As many people know, Christine is kind of our third leg here. That sounded weird. We call ourselves the Trans Canada Tarts. That's me and Christine and Christina. And so to have her, one of our tarts, be on the show was pretty special.
Mhm.
And it was heartbreaking to see her go. But I do feel like she got quite a bit of screen time, even for that one episode run. And I was really pleased with how they portrayed her
Mhm.
and how everything went down in the show. Not that it was good for her, but I think that she came away with an excellent experience from it anyway, despite the fact that it was so hard to leave early. And
Yeah.
it killed us to watch it.
It totally did. And I think that's the tough thing for the first baker that does have to leave the show, because you guys know, Steve and Vincent, you guys know how hard it is to even get into that tent and how talented and creative and wonderful you need to be even to step foot in there and to bake in there. And it's really unfortunate, that somebody has to go home the first episode, and even more unfortunate for this season for us that it happened to be our friend as well. So that hurt a little bit. I agree with you, but I also agree with you, Lisa, where I think the CBC just treated her with such kindness, and everybody did in the show. I think one of the most heartfelt moments for me in the show was when Rita kind of went up to her after the showstopper and said, "Can I give you a hug?" And that love And I think Steve, you mentioned it right off the bat, right? Just the connection, or Vincent, the connections that you could already see how much love there was for each other in such a short period of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty incredible, actually. Just, as a person who has been on the show, when we meet at the hotel and you spend a little bit of time together, you've quickly realized that you are with a bunch of people who you regard as, these are my people.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about baking,
Mhm.
and you can talk about buttercream, and you can talk about different brands of butter, and you can talk about, piping tips all night. And
Mhm.
nobody's going to roll their eyes at you and go, oh God, here we go again.
Because they get you. They get you. They are
Yes.
They
you.
get you. Exactly. It's so nice. It's so nice to be in an environment where people get you. And it's like, why is it that when you freeze egg whites in a Ziploc bag and you thaw it out, they leak? I don't understand. I know. Why does that happen? And it becomes like, a half an hour thread on a chat line. Right?
Riveting conversation. Yeah.
And for somebody totally, that's not in the baking kind of world,
Mhm.
looking at that, they'd be like, what's wrong with these people?
Their eyes just glaze over.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
that's really what makes the show so special, right?
Mhm.
Is
Mhm.
the aside from we all talk about it all the time, the casting, right? They always put the 10 perfect people
Mhm.
together who can play off each other, who meld very, very quickly. I mean, again, we only have our season to remember, but it was instant connection. And then you take it onto the screen, and they do such a good job to make sure that everyone is portrayed in the best possible light. Everyone is there. They want everyone to succeed. They want it to be impossible for Kyla and Bruno to make decisions. And even if you are, have a horrible day, you're still going to look good because they don't want to make you look bad. And you know that every person in there, all 10 people, were picked because each of them has a shot of winning that plate.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like there's a stronger or weaker, and it comes down to, especially at the beginning, you just have a bad day. Something goes wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with Christine, right? I mean,
Yeah.
she had to start over. I've been there. I baked 27 times in that tent. On the 27th time, I had to start over in the holiday special. And I
Mhm.
got lucky that I had enough time to complete it. I still didn't have enough time to do all the things I wanted to do.
Mhm.
And that's what happened to Christine. And it's not because she was any worse than any of the other bakers. She just had a misstep. And you have that
Tent
one
got her.
misstep, someone's got to go home, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But I know that. Go ahead, Vincent.
No, I had the same. I had the same experience as Christine and Steve as well on the very first bake. I mean, it was just I tried to start over, but it was just not enough time to bake it.
Your
And even if
pound cake?
even if I could bake that thing again, it wouldn't have been baked in time.
Mhm.
So I just had to like face reality and
Yeah.
think, 15 or 20 minutes is not enough to bake a pound cake.
No.
But
Yeah.
but she was great. She stuck to it and she just went at it and kept cool,
Mm-hmm.
baked the cake,
Yep.
you know. But it's just she just didn't cut it in half.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing. And she didn't meet the brief, but they did give her some really good feedback about her distribution of blueberries. They said it was really, really tasty.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it just didn't fit what they were looking for, which is really unfortunate
Yeah.
because her bake was
Good.
spot on,
Yeah.
right?
But I
And
think
it makes me question. It's like, I don't know if I should talk about this because Christine will probably listen to this, but I'm wondering if she just cut it in half and just split it open and then left it as an open cake without decorating the inside, with whether that would have been more
Enough.
acceptable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
enough to get her through.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's just like cut it in half, open it up, don't decorate it, and just say I ran out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
'Cause
was
she did
wondering
have
that
enough.
myself.
Yeah, because she did have enough time to actually do some
Decorate.
lovely decor on top, right? It was
It's a
simple but
beautiful
very
cake.
elegant. Yeah, it was
Yes.
gorgeous. But you're right. I think if had she just cut the cake in half, even did a quick little and like pipe, quickly pipe, and then throw on some of her beautiful like clovers that she had done, the wafer paper clovers she did.
Yeah.
Maybe it would have gotten her enough because, at the end of the day, flavor does count. The bake does count for a lot. And yeah. So anyway, hindsight's 2020. I'm sure, it's something that probably Christine's
she's
thinking
second
about
guessed
too.
herself.
Yeah.
I'm sure 1,000 times, and you can't go back and you can't do anything about it. But she, at the end of the day, she made it into the tent. She did what we've been trying to do for a long time. And that is a success in and of itself. And she also was talking about the instant connection with all the other bakers because she wasn't there with them for long, but she calls them her family and she misses them. And, so she's part of season 8 forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she's a part of the alumni forever now too.
She is. Yeah. And she didn't do anything to be ashamed of.
No.
Right? Everything that she did, she can be proud of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she represented New Brunswick so beautifully as well. So
yes.
Yeah.
Which city is she from?
She's in St. John?
Moncton?
She was in Moncton, but is she now?
She's moved. So I never remember which one she's in now. But she will tell us.
Because
I'm sure she will.
Most of the other bakers, they had said the city, but they just said New Brunswick.
Yeah. I guess New Brunswick is small enough.
Oh my. Oh my.
But I think part of that is because she was living in Moncton at the time of recording, and then she's just recently relocated to
St. John.
St. John, I believe, is sort of, or the other way around, but I think she was in Moncton, is now in St. John.
We don't talk about things like location when we chat. We talk about more important things like baking and egg whites in the freezer.
Exactly. So let's talk about that signature challenge. So it was a love cake, had to have some nut flour in there, heavy on aromatics. What did you guys think of the execution and the flavor? Well, let's talk about the flavors that some of the bakers pulled together, and what were some of your standouts that you loved?
I have so many questions.
I got to tell you, I cringed as soon as I heard nut flowers.
Oh, really?
I did not. Yeah. And not that I'm averse to nut flowers. I just immediately, my brain goes to gluten-free baking and I'm sad. It doesn't work for me. I've tried to get away from it. And, but then I realized what they were doing, and it's okay. It's not just nut flour and the aromatics. And I thought, okay, I had not even, excuse me, not even a favorite. I just, the hearing all of them was just phenomenal. Like the sounds of the different flavors. I can't pick one out from the top of my head, but they all just sounded so good. And, all flavors that I don't use, because as we know, I'm just pretty basic when it comes to flavors, but it was so cool. And I had never heard of a love cake before either.
No, me either.
Which was kind of cool. So now I know at least I was told while I was watching, I got to bake a love cake.
You got to bake a love cake.
There you go.
Yeah, heavy on the aromatics, essential to have the nut flour in there. Erica was distilling tonic water down to a syrup. And I was just like,
that's cool.
It's cool. Is it?
No, it is. And I'll tell you.
First bake in the tent.
I'll tell you why. Because, and this will just be a very brief off topic, but I had to make cupcakes for my hockey guys as the season ended in the summer. And I was thinking about what to make. And a suggestion was put forth by Megan from season 2. Root beer cupcakes.
Oh, yes.
So what the heck is a root beer cupcake? So she gave me a recipe, sort of an idea of a recipe. And I said, oh, okay, I can do that. And one of the things was root beer concentrate, which I couldn't find anywhere. So I took root beer and I boiled it down. I took 2 cups of root beer and distilled it down to a 1/4 cup.
Wow.
Bam. It was awesome.
Flavor.
Did you distill it or did you reduce it?
I reduced it.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what she was doing. I didn't see a distiller there.
It was distilled when she...
Because you need a distiller, right?
You need a distiller.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
I
I mean,
did-
she said she was distilling it
Yeah,
down.
but it was being reduced. It was reducing to a syrup, which is so. I mean, again, how much flavor does tonic water have? I don't know. My grandfather was the
Don't
only
know.
one I knew who drank tonic water, but
Yeah.
obviously it has flavor. But if it worked for root beer, and
Yeah.
it really worked, then great, good on her. But
Think
Think
you
of
know
all the
what?
endless
They come
possibilities.
from both come from the Edmonton area. Maybe everyone in the Edmonton area is just is reducing their soda down to a syrup.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
But the
thing.
tonic water, when it was reducing, if I can recall, it had a bit of a color to it. Like it ended up being a bit amberish, no?
Yeah.
Do you
Mhm.
think it
And-
scorched?
But it does have, tonic does have a ton of sugar. So that could have just been the
Yeah.
caramelization of the
Caramelization?
sugar happening when you're cooking it down.
Okay, because
Perhaps.
I'm not a fan of tonic water. I find
Mhm.
it very kind of acrid. I don't
Mhm.
know what the right word is, but it's got this kind of like
Burn to it?
just a weird aftertaste,
Yeah.
and it's not something I would enjoy. And I was just thinking, oh my God, you're concentrating that flavor that I probably really hate. But it's kind of but it's kind of cool, right? I mean, it's just an interesting thing. I've never heard of that before. Now it makes
Yeah.
you curious.
And
I
she
mean,
did
she's
pair it
putting
with
orange and coffee with it.
coffee.
I mean, put
Yeah.
coffee with anything, and I'm going to taste it. And I'm hoping
True
that
enough,
I
fair,
like
fair.
it. You know,
Yeah.
I think it would make a difference.
I think coffee and orange is a nice combination.
Coffee and
And
orange is nice.
I think maybe that tonic probably added something just special like in the background. I don't think the judges said anything about that though.
No, they didn't. They really loved they just talked about the orange flavor, I think, and they really loved the coffee brittle.
Yep.
But
That
I
was
don't
clever.
think, yeah.
And that looked really cool. Like the shards of
Shards,
the brittle with the little coffee beans in
Yeah.
there. I thought was actually a
Yeah.
very clever decor.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Erica is actually one person that from the moment that they were introduced when the bakers were first announced, she is very appealing to me.
Yes.
She's very, I love her personality. I find her very amusing.
Vincent.
And what?
What? But
Nothing. I
Okay.
I found her very, very lovely. I thought she was funny and somebody I would totally love to hang out with.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, you
Oh,
100%.
She was somebody that I would totally like to hang out with because she seems like a riot.
yeah,
Absolutely.
she's just so
Dry
like
humor.
cool and like like the beachy kind of vibe kind of
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? Like
Completely
just
I know
relaxed.
what you mean.
yeah, like that kind, yeah, just like super relaxed and chill and
Yeah.
Yeah.
and
And
I think
and a
it's
dry sense of humor. Like I love
Totally.
that.
100%. So maybe
Yeah.
that was why she was like reducing the tonic water because it's just trying to dry it out. I don't know.
Well, like I made notes of each of the contestants, right? And my note was with her, and I don't know why I wrote this, but let me see what I wrote here. So for Erica, I wrote blonde pigtails, Calgary. And I don't know why. I don't think she had blonde pigtails, but
Not
not
this
have
time.
pigtails.
She did in another commercial or yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, maybe that's where I got it from.
It
But
must
yeah,
be.
but she's just very chill and down to earth, and I just love her. She's
Yeah.
just great.
she's
I agree.
yeah,
She
I
does
think she'll
not
be
seem
fun
like
to-
she is bothered at all by being in the tent.
no
No,
no
No.
Definitely. I could hang with her for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, actually, she reminds me a lot of Steve. Actually, like just completely chill and
yeah
no pretense and that sort of stuff. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah, I love her.
yeah I
Right.
think so too. I think
Agreed.
she's
I
kind
think
of fun.
that, what you see is what you get with her. And I think that's what's so appealing about her.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see what else she does
Yeah,
when she's in the tent. Yeah.
yeah.
And fun when she was talking. So when we moved, we're not moving on to the Showstoppers yet, but when she was talking about her Showstopper and she did that pumpkin patch split cake with the ice or the frost on it. And she was like, I saw a pumpkin patch and I was like, how have I never seen a pumpkin patch before? You do that all by yourself, and just like go nature. And I just thought
I know.
she was hilarious. just wowed by a pumpkin patch. Like that's the kind of thing that I find really appealing, that she's just like simple pleasures, right?
Yes,
And finding
exactly.
joy in those. Well, Steve will always, you're right. He'll always find joy in everything.
But think about the first time you saw a pumpkin patch, right? The first time I saw a pumpkin patch, I was probably in my 40s, and I was completely like, "Holy crap, this is so cool!" Like, look
So
at
you
all the
got, like-
orange balls in
Yeah.
the field.
And
It's like,
even when you drive by them out here, it's like I drove by one over the weekend and same thing, those same like feelings do
yeah,
come up, right? And it's like, oh my God, it's so cool. And when you see all the little kids all around and there's
Yeah.
just all that excitement and that cool, just fun vibe. And
Mhm.
yeah, it's definitely a special place, especially this time of year.
for
Yes.
sure. I mean, Charlie Brown had it all right, right?
Great.
Erica's the great pumpkin.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the signature that sort of caught my eye, there were two. The main one was Guillaume's, and his was
Hot.
awesome. Like it was it was great watching him walk around the woods, but anyway, I digress. The smoked applewood mousseline, come
Mhm.
on, like
Yeah.
I am like
Yeah.
floored. I gotta try that now, right? I
Yeah.
gotta go and chop a piece of wood off the back of my tree and just like smoke it and try to make mousseline out of this thing. And then he had like the lemon sweet clover, I think it
Yeah,
was.
lemon
Yes.
and sweet clover.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so it sounded absolutely insanely good. And they said that, before they even cut into it, they could smell it, which
Mhm.
is really, really amazing. And I think the other standout for me was just as from a flavor profile, I think I would really love is the Alora's. She
Yeah.
had the rose cardamom and saffron
Mhm.
custard. That
Yes.
sounds delicious.
That did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those
She
are
did.
those were the ones that stood out for me.
And she did the rasmalai syrup, which was introduced to us last season in one of the technicals, the idea of the rasmalai.
Now, what is that exactly?
Oh gosh.
Like,
It's
is it?
like a
I think it's
soaking,
a
milk
saffron base.
soaking syrup. Yeah, usually has like saffron in it. And
Okay.
they did it as a cake for the technical so that it would be you're soaking the cake with this this milk basically.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a tres leches type of thing.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So
But it's
yeah,
sort of like saffron kind of based.
yes, I
Saffron
believe
milky
so.
base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely
Okay.
milky
Yeah.
Cool.
based.
Yeah. And I thought she did a beautiful job in the decor of her love cake as well. In fact, Bruto said it was like fine china, because she had done those beautiful
Roses.
the roses. And actually the other person who did beautiful rose work was
Regent.
With the gold
those
tips of them. Oh, those were
They were
beautiful.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yes. Gorgeous. And he's the maple man. So
Yeah.
I wonder if the maple that he used, I didn't catch this, but did it come from his farm?
Yes.
I'm sure it did.
Probably.
Yeah. Yeah. He
Okay.
made his own maple and he made that maple sugar bowl that
Mhm.
broke, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They always break.
But can we just take a moment and appreciate that he refers to himself in the third person?
Oh,
Oh,
I
that
know.
was
And then he caught
But then he
himself.
stopped and said, "Why am I doing this?" That's great.
I
yes.
freaking love that. It was so funny.
Well, like he said in the intro, he was there to add pizzazz, and he certainly is.
But we got so much more of Rajan's personality, like from this one episode, even from that one moment where he was talking about himself in the third person, than we did in his entire the episode or the what is it? The announcement
Yeah, the
thing. What is
All
The bios,
the
the
bios, the
Yeah.
the
baker
bios?
bios.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, like we really, I didn't see anywhere near as much personality from him in that bio that was supposed to tell us all about him, but we really, really see his personality coming through in this first.
Oh, he's a
episode.
riot.
Yeah.
He
I
is.
mean,
It's gonna be
please
fun to
just
watch.
even if he gets voted off, please just keep him around for color.
Just hang
I
out in
agree.
the background.
But I think there are quite a few bakers that actually do have that will add that color. And I think we spoke about Erica. I think Patty's going to be so fun to
Yeah.
watch in the tent as well. She's just got such a fun vibe around her as well. And I think Rita too. I think she's literally a scream, like, because that's what she does. But it's so fun. And the timing of her screaming is so appropriate. Either it's the editing or it's just very appropriate. But she's so much fun as well to watch on the show. And
She is.
She actually scares me a little.
Okay.
She's like Yes. It's so intense, right?
It's too much for you.
Like funny intense though. It's
Yeah.
like
Funny intense.
funny, but man, just like whoa, that's a lot. But she seems very fun.
She does.
And in her little bio on the show, just her one line saying, let's see if you can keep your losing streak going, kind of thing to her husband or whoever he is. I think it's her husband.
It was.
Yes.
But that's just like that's classic. I love that. Hilarious.
That was pretty good.
Yeah.
Love that
good.
kind of relationship. And she did an orange and hibiscus brown sugar cake. She used her mom's brown sugar buttercream, and she teared up a little bit talking about her mom, which is always lovely. But they really liked the frosting, so that was a good thing, because it's always like when you bring something that's so personal up in the tent, you want to make sure that it's appreciated with as much care as you're putting into it. So I was really happy when they were like, oh yes, you've done your mother proud. I was like, oh thank God.
Yeah, totally.
Just for Rita.
I get excited when I hear hibiscus. Now that as of last year, I've tried it for the first time in my life. So I found out why was it being kept from me all these years. And I have bags of hibiscus now ready to be steeped.
Yeah. For me, that's elderflower. And Jen used the elderflower in her bake, in her love cake. And that was actually quite beautifully done too. And this with the Saskatoon berries on top. And then she had an
big berry.
Saskatoon
berries. Here we go.
When Saskatoon berries came out, I actually did think about the Washing Up podcast and Chris and Christy.
They're screaming at their television right now.
And Chris isn't doing his recap because he's not well enough. Yeah. So like we get to talk about it as much as we want to. There you go. Saskatoon berries are a real berry.
He's trying to scream about Saskatoon berries and he can't.
No, exactly. Poor Chris.
Poor Chris.
But I thought the rest of her flavor combos were really lovely as well. The almond, the lemon, the elderflower, those just so meld well, so nicely together. And she did hers in like a beautiful loaf form rather than sort of the rounded cake, which I think most of the other bakers did.
Didn't she do the round one? Didn't she do it with didn't it look like it
had
lady
talking about?
Around the edge?
Maybe I was
Jen.
Yeah.
Pamela
was round.
Pamela, okay. Oh, yeah. One of was it Jen or Pamela?
Pamela, yeah.
Okay. Sorry, never mind.
The same loaf tin I used in my first signature too. I looked at it, I said, I know that tin.
That was a good looking tin.
It's a beautiful tin. It's a beautiful tin. Yes.
And it came out of there very nicely, which is always a bit nerve-wracking when it's got so many little edges in there.
Yeah. But going back to Pamela, hers was a great bake in that beautiful loaf tin, and her flavors were lemon verbena, which is also a really nice flavor combination.
And cedron, which I haven't heard of before, which is Uruguayan. I'm so sorry, I'm messing up these pronunciations so badly. Uruguay. She's from Uruguay.
Yes. So Uruguayan.
And so cedron is apparently one of the flavors that she used. So I'm very interested in actually what that tastes like. Kyla said that it added a nice balance. So I would really like to know what kind of flavor that is that's in there with the lemon and the.
Yeah, I thought that was the lemon verbena. I think that's the Uruguayan.
Is that what it's called?
That's what it's what it's called.
It's just called that. Yeah.
Okay, so then it sounds like it's lemon and lemon verbena and lemongrass, because they mentioned all three of those things.
I don't know about the lemongrass. Lemongrass, Patty used lemongrass in hers with the jackfruit, I think, right?
Jackfruit, ginger, coconut and
ginger, and jackfruit.
Yeah, that was Patty's. But I didn't hear the lemongrass in Pamela's bake. I thought it was just a lemon verbena cedron one, but so many flavors. So many amazing flavors.
Fruit? Is verbena a fruit?
I don't believe so.
I think it's more like, isn't it more like a plant?
Like a leaf.
Like
an
herb?
Yeah. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what I think. So yeah.
Verbena, of course. Yes, of course. We have it in our backyard.
Why are we not asking you then?
Yes. No, I thought it was like a fruit for something. I thought it was like a lemon or something.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, one of the things that you said sort of brought something up for me was elderflower. So, for the first time, I'm not a big forager, but this year the elderflowers were everywhere in our neighborhood. So I went out and harvested some elderflower blossoms, and I made elderflower syrup for the first time Oh my God, where has it been all my life?
I know. I
It's
discovered
like
it like a month ago, maybe 2 months
incredible.
ago.
Yeah.
And it
It
was
is
so
so good.
it smells so beautiful. It's got
Mhm.
this beautiful blush pink to it. It is absolutely stunning. It's what a great flavor.
Oh,
I
I'm gonna have
discovered
to
it
try
also. I went for facials with my daughter for her birthday, and they were like, "Would you like some elderflower water?" And I was like, "Ugh, I don't like florals really at all to drink or eat." But I tasted it and I was just like, "Oh, it's amazing." So yesterday when I actually was at Jen's watch party for the premiere episode, and I was drinking an elderflower gin and tonic
Oh,
when
beautiful.
this came up
Nice.
on the screen. So I was like,
Was the tonic
it was
made into a
distilled.
syrup? Yeah.
It was distilled.
It was a
Well,
very
what-
appropriate drink. It had lemon in it also. So I was just like, perfect. This is my signature drink, apparently.
Yeah, I was going to say you
Yeah.
could probably, if when you get into the 10th, Lisa, you should, Linda, I don't know why I was going to call you Linda.
That's okay.
Lisa, when you get into the 10th, you'll have to do a signature bake with that combination, the
Yes, I think I
elderflower,
might
gin,
just have
tonic. Yeah.
when I get into
Lemon.
the 10th.
Mhm.
Speaking of florals, though, the pumpkin spice and rose water.
Marcus?
Yeah,
Yes.
Marcus. I can't figure that one out in my head at all.
I'm with Kyla on that one. I was just like,
Yeah.
do those match? I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but she liked
But
it when
she liked it.
tasted
She
it.
She
Did
said she
didn't
liked
hate
it.
it. She
Well,
didn't
but
hate it.
again, it's only an hour, right? They only give them one sentence, and sometimes
Oh.
that's a good thing
Okay.
Okay.
because
Well, there you go. Or
rose
that's the
water.
part that was edited into the show. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't understand that one either.
Sometimes it's hard to know whether it's just let's throw these together and see if it works just because I want to do something a little bit different, or if it is something that he's, obviously he's tried it before. He would have had to do his practice bakes, but yeah, it's very hard for me to imagine those flavors together.
Well, not so obvious. I mean, somebody made, Italian meringue, Italian meringue buttercream for the first time on the show. So
Yeah.
That's the first time ever that it's been done.
No, it was the first
No,
time she
the
had
time
ever
she ever
made
made
it.
it.
It
Oh,
was
that
it was
she had,
Patty.
okay, the first time she
Yeah.
made it.
Yeah.
But really,
For her showstopper.
would you do that the first time?
nope.
Yep. Absolutely.
Like
Steve,
not have
Absolutely not.
practiced it before ever and
Yep.
just did it then?
Yep.
Because
Nope.
that
Yep.
Nope.
I'd go fully off script and do it just because.
Steve's like, I watched a YouTube video right
Yes,
before we started
exactly.
filming.
Last
For me,
night
it's
I
all about.
watched-
I saw it on a YouTube video once. I'm sure I can do it. They didn't make it look that difficult.
well,
And I would have been,
really,
I've practiced this 20 times and I've timed it down to the second.
Yeah, you
to
would.
know exactly to the gram how much I need.
yeah.
Yep, I can 100% believe that. Let's see, who did we not talk about?
Christine.
Christine.
The
Yeah.
lime and the coconuts.
Or lime and the coconut.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded like they really thought it was they loved the softness of the presentation, but they wanted more of the sides exposed. I guess traditionally, I don't know how we're all supposed to know that traditionally the sides are exposed on a love cake, but they did like the presentation and tasted the lime and coconut, but said it was a little bit dry. I thought it looked lovely.
It did look lovely and it sounded delicious.
It did. Her
The thing
signature.
the thing about dry cakes on camera versus an underbaked cake,
Mhm.
you can tell an underbaked cake in like by just a second,
Yeah.
right? But a dry cake can still look moist on camera.
Yeah.
Right.
So like you slice into it, there's a bit of crumb, it could be moist, it could be dry. But if you slice into like an underbaked cake, it's just like, jello.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see that. Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a lot of underbaked cakes.
I was
Yes.
going to say there were a few of those for sure.
Mhm.
Well,
Mhm.
you're nervous, and how much time do you have for cooling and decorating? So you might take it out a little bit too early.
Mhm.
Or maybe their temperature didn't work like it didn't work for you, Vincent, when you were like, it said that it was up to temperature and it couldn't possibly have been, but for your loaf.
No, the loaf was that wasn't the temperature issue. But at the end of the day, there was one part of the show where everybody was, it was during the technical,
Mhm.
where everybody was like peering into the thing. Don't open the door,
Mhm.
right? Don't open the door. It's gonna fall on you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, those damn doors are tinted.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You can't see
Gosh
a
darn.
thing. You can edit that part. You can't see a thing through those doors, right?
Let's see, what time are we at here? So I know where to go to edit that.
Yeah, exactly. But you're right though. Like, so how, I
Yeah,
mean,
how
you
do
guys
we know?
again have been in the tent. Like some of the things that you're given to work with, I mean, they're challenging as well. Like there are a lot of elements that you guys have
All
to,
of the things you're given are challenging.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
really
So,
are.
so
Yeah,
it's
that's true.
already difficult enough that you're not in your own habitat, right? Baking in your own kitchen. You're in a strange place. You've got weather elements, you've got heat, you've got humidity, you've got real massive time crunches. And then you've got maybe not the ingredients, all of the ingredients that you really need or want, or they're maybe slightly different from what you're used to working with. I mean, how do you navigate through all of that to get some and have something presentable on a plate to offer the judges?
I would venture that we're going to have very different answers to your question. I say you just wing it. You just do what you got to do and you get through it. I mean, really that's what it comes down to. And when it comes like when we talked about peering into the oven, I always wanted to because that's what you see, that iconic. I don't think I
Yes.
ever once actually did that because like Vincent said, you can't see anyway. So it's a matter of when I heard that someone put the cake in and said, I'll give it about 15 minutes, and I'm yelling,
Right.
come on, you've baked cakes before. Unless it's this thick, like an inch, you're not baking it for 15 minutes. So I want to give it enough time that if I do open the door, it's not going to fall on me.
It's
So
gonna
I've got
have
to
enough
give it
space.
time
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'll deal with it. And I'd rather have it, slightly over than dramatically under for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But yeah, you just, that things happen.
Yeah.
Things just happen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the one thing that you didn't mention with all those external forces, you got to remember, because you can't see it when you watch the show, the dozens of other people that are there. There
Mhm.
are camera crews and there's lighting and there's all this going on too, which you could recreate a lot of the stuff in your house, but you can't recreate a crew running around and while you're in the middle of things talking to you on top of everything else. And
Well,
then
unless you have
realizing
kids.
you have to go to the
Unless
fridge,
you have kids.
which is way on the other side of the kitchen to get to the fridge.
Yes,
Mm,
that's true. And at the end of the day, everybody has the same challenge, right? And especially in the technicals, you're all dealing with exactly the same challenges, except some ovens run hot, some ovens run cold, some ovens don't run at all.
Mhm.
And those are the ovens that you have to sort of, if you're a team and friends with all the other bakers, by the second or third day, we're all telling each other, oh, you're at that station. It turns off when you walk by it. Or when you open the door, it will drop 50 degrees. Make sure you preheat the oven again. Or that one runs a little hot. So if you want 350, put 325. So we each knew what each oven did at each station by, if you're all
Communicating that
together,
way.
communicating and friends.
Yeah.
mhm.
And that's what makes the baking show such a wonderful thing because we're all there to do our best and we're
Yeah.
all there to help each other do our best work.
Yes.
It's not a competition so much as it is we're baking together as friends.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
so much fun,
Yeah.
you know.
With
Yeah.
So
all of those different elements that are coming into play, it's quite amazing the job that everybody did on this
Yes.
very first challenge in the tent. Like you get the opportunity to become familiar with the layout and the stations and everything, but you don't know all those type of things. You don't necessarily know how to use a Cuisinart mixer or how it differs from maybe a KitchenAid or whatever, unless you've purchased a Cuisinart to practice on, which I know some people do.
I
You don't
almost did. I
You
almost
almost
did.
did? Yeah.
Yes.
I think it might be a smart thing to do. But everybody actually turned out pretty, I mean, amazing quality considering that they've never baked in this tent ever before.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah,
was
for the
very
first time.
impressed by that. Yeah.
And I
It
thought,
is always amazing to me.
yeah.
Year in, year out, week in, week out, that everyone pretty much finishes and makes
Mhm.
something beautiful and delicious for the most
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Maybe
It
there's a
is.
glitch along the way, but you know, when you get in there and you realize what happens and how nerves can attack you and
Mhm.
and all that others, it is amazing that it happens. and and not only that everyone's done, but for the most part, everyone's done like right at the last second. Like that's not staged. Like again, I think I had 2 bakes that I had time left, and when I say time left, I mean a minute.
Mm-hmm.
There was
Yeah.
no standing. It was like, and everyone pretty much is doing that right to the last second, and then it's all done.
Yeah, and Bruno and Kyla were saying that too in our interview with them the other day. They were like, we've never had anyone not finish. We've never had a time when we've come in and all the technicals haven't been done. I think maybe one, but
Yeah, there was
I
one.
know which one you're thinking about.
Oh, they were done. If we're talking about the creme
They weren't
caramel, they
done
were
properly.
done.
Well, I thought they were going to be talking about some creme caramel, but they talked about those
Pirouettes.
pirouettes.
Those were nothing. Come on.
I did not enjoy. That's when my oven decided to stop working on me, and I could not figure out why I was not baking these dumb cookies. And I was like, why did none of them work? They're supposed to take like a couple minutes, but anyway,
the
it's not about me.
horrible.
All right, let's move on to the technical challenge. And this was kind of a fun one. I'd never heard of a schmoo torch before. Had you guys?
Nope.
No. And unfortunately, there were no bakers in the tent this year from Manitoba, which is where this cake originates from. It's like a Winnipeg specialty, apparently. And it actually sounds really delicious. I'm a sucker for angel food cake to begin with. And then, so this one's like almost like a Decoise / angel food cake kind of cake with my favorite brown sugar caramel and more pecans. And yeah, it just sounds, and some stabilized whipped cream to top it all off. I thought they were all like, I mean, there were a few people who had a few challenges, but it was like, for the most part, again, most people got a pretty good, resemblance of what that schmoo cake should have been looking like.
Yeah. Yeah. For the most part.
Yeah, they all had a representation of, when you see them all presented and they're all similar, you know that the recipe has enough stuff that you can get it. And then sometimes you'll get like one person who gives you just a mound of cake. But I think that's just for the humor of it, right?
Oh yeah, sure. Because that's the important thing. Let's just be humorous instead of actually trying to succeed in the technical.
Well, you try, but then you have to find the humor in the situation.
That's true. Yeah.
I think Rajan did that exact thing
exactly
for this challenge. Yeah.
Curiosity killed Rajan.
Yeah.
It still looked good. You know what? That was the first time I started screaming at the screen. The first time.
What were you screaming?
Yes.
Well, they were taking their angel food cakes out of the oven, and then they were sticking them in the fridge.
Yeah.
And they weren't flipping them over.
Yeah, you gotta flip them.
And I was screaming, you gotta flip it over.
I think quite a number of them did, though. I saw a few flip cakes, but you're right. I think there were a couple of people that didn't. They just like whooped.
Yep. And that cake was probably going to go.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to hear what Chris's suggestion was? Why don't they just flip them over in the oven? My husband is not a baker, clearly. He's like, problem solved. I'm like, no, new problem created.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, might be onto something, though, because I think you could probably bake it. No, hear me out. This is how it might possibly work. So you bake it to a certain level, right? Where you've got the rise, you're starting to get a little bit of that, golden color on top. And then when you know that you've got that, enough of a bake going, maybe the last 5 minutes, 10 minutes of it, you bake upside down. I'm not saying that I would try that technique, but I'm thinking it might work.
I don't think it would.
No. As much as I would love to try new things in the tent, that would not be one of the things I would try.
But you would do the Italian meringue buttercream, right?
That he would.
That I would do.
The good thing was it doesn't look like anybody greased their pans, which is excellent. The interesting thing was when you look at the CBC recipe that got posted today, they say cool for 2 to 3 hours after baking. And I think that when I asked Christine, so how long did you have to cool it? And she said, I think maybe 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once again, astounding that anybody had anything on that table.
Right. And a proper angel food cake wouldn't go into the fridge either. Like you
No.
wouldn't cool it in the fridge. You would cool it at, in air temperature
Yeah.
for quite some time before you
And
pop it out.
you could see when somebody, one of the bakers was trying to tort it. It
Mhm.
was so soft and
Mhm.
delicate that it was just ripping it to shreds.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I think that's where Réjean got into some trouble. And then I think Alora did as well. Her cake, I
She
think when
did.
she was taking hers out,
Mhm.
you could see.
She didn't
That's
have
why
a
she only
top
had
layer.
like 2.5
2.5.
layers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was
So
the side split house. Yeah.
and she may not have, and to be honest, she may have been the ones that, I don't know if this was a fact, but I would suspect that she might have been one of the ones that didn't flip the cake over, so that when it cooled, it might have cooled on an like
Oh, the
unevenly
scamps. Yeah.
and on an angle. So when she sliced it evenly, it was probably just like a wedge.
Yeah.
But I may be wrong on that. She can yell at me online as all she wants.
I don't think she's going to yell at you. It's fine. You can have a thought on what possibly might have happened. She'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
You're wrong.
That's fine. She can tell you that. So we had everybody did, I think, an amazing job, but they still had to get rated. And Réjean, unfortunately, was clearly last. And he felt a little bit deflated after the technical, but came back, I think, pretty strong in the showstopper, which is quite amazing.
Yep.
And Jen came first in the technical. She had a well-constructed cake. She did a great job. And her
Yep.
caramel was tasty. And Rita had a little bit of problem with seeping. I think there were a few people who had some
Yes.
problems with the caramel seeping out. So then there's the
Erica,
importance of the
Rita,
jam.
yeah, they had the seeping issues, and Christine,
Yeah.
all had seeping issues.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, it was Patty whose cake was falling apart.
Yes,
Yes.
2.5 layers.
2.5 layers. Yes. Everybody else did a good job, I think. I don't know. I'm going to see if I can do it in 2 hours. I don't think I will be able to, but
I'll make it, but I'm going to give myself all day if you don't mind.
Okay.
You take all day, Steve.
I'm very much looking forward to seeing how it comes out. I know Christina's going to do it as well. So,
Yeah.
Vincent,
I'm
you
doing
going
it
to
too.
join us? Right
Yeah.
on.
Oh, I'm
You
totally
guys
doing
should do
it.
it together, timed. I will be happy to judge you.
And you've got such great experience already doing those technical
I'll
form
come in
homes.
last again. All right. So
Cool.
moving into the showstopper,
The split cake.
the split cake.
Okay, split. Okay, can we talk about the biggest controversy of yesterday's episode?
In whose eyes?
Controversy.
Your eyes? I didn't see any controversy.
Okay. Do
Okay.
you split your cake before you ice it?
Yes.
Or after you
Yes.
ice it?
Before.
After.
If you're a before, you're an after.
Oh no, after,
Before.
please.
Before? I'm
Well-
with Vincent. I would do after. I would do a crumb coat on it.
Oh
I'd
yeah.
crumb coat it.
Fill and crumb coat and then split it.
No, because if you filled it and you split it, you're gonna, if it's a loose filling, if it's a firm filling, that's one thing. But if it's a loose filling, as soon as you split it, you've got to ooze. You got to make the dam before
I made the dam.
you split
I'm
it.
gonna
Then you
tell
do the
you.
dam.
I did it already.
See,
I made the dam.
grasshopper.
I made the dam and I had it on a piece of parchment paper and I made a line so I knew exactly where that line
You
was.
pre-dammed your cake.
I
I
pre-dammed.
pre-dammed
Looked
my
at your
cake
cake and you
too.
said, "Damn you, cake!
Damn
You're not gonna
you."
get the best of me."
Sorry.
Wasn't about to let that happen. Where is he going?
Where did
Sorry.
Vincent go?
It's a little quiet in the kitchen, so I'm gonna have to check on what they're doing.
But
yeah, I
I
think it really depends on what your fillings are.
yes,
Yes.
if you've got a more firm filling, then
Yeah. Then
it never dawned on me to, because most things don't dawn on me, but it wouldn't dawn on me to pre-dam my cake before I cut into it. That's a good idea. But I would say
Thanks.
for me, especially when you have a cake, it depends on how much. Some of them had a wedge missing. Some of them,
Mhm.
like Jen, had essentially two halves
two
of a
cakes.
cake.
Yep.
And you got it, and I had to wait for Vincent to get back because we need to talk about one of the cakes. We have to.
Guillaume's?
We have to talk about something that actually I had to start breathing. I said, why? I've made a lot of cakes in my day. We've all made a lot of cakes, maybe too many cakes. Has anybody ever had their cake here with a dam and filling, and then had another layer in front of them that they put a dam, they put filling, and then pick it up and
Oh.
put it onto the cake. That
Without
just
a cake lifter.
I wanted to cry. I said, why isn't the layer on the cake? And now you put your dam and your filling. What? Oh my gosh. And
I
that
have
could have
done
been a
it
nerves
once.
thing. That could have been nerves.
I did it
Yeah,
once. I
maybe.
had to do it once because I had an unfortunate incident where my dam didn't get firm enough before I put the next layer on, and so it started to slide out. So I ended up sliding the entire 3 top layers off and then putting it in the fridge to chill while I
But it
did the
wasn't
other
your
one.
first,
But
it
it was
wasn't your
not.
first shot. Yeah,
No.
that was, I mean, it made for great TV.
But
It made for me
but-
throwing things at
heartbreaking.
my TV, and then it was really cool when it all slid in the fridge and that the door caught
Oh
the
my
layer of
God.
the cake. That was amazing because then
Oh,
it doesn't go to
That,
waste,
so that
But
was
what a
that was a
save.
Laura.
right?
But what a save, though. She ended up,
She was
presenting,
composed. She was
a-
so calm and composed through that whole thing.
right?
Yeah.
But that freeze spray.
Great.
Yeah.
I mean, I think she just like emptied a can out on that cake, but that was enough to kind of get it all solid again. And she presented, I thought, quite a beautiful stone cake with
It was
the geos.
amazing.
Oh,
Yeah,
that was really
It was
cool.
amazing in the end, but when I saw her assembling it, I was
I was
Are you
like,
kidding me?
yes. You do feel for these bakers when you see that going down.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, admittedly too, I think that the amount of like the thickness of the fondant certainly
Oh.
helped keep it
Yeah.
together.
That
Yes.
fondant was
It was like a half
so
inch.
thick.
It was a
like a
big
half
thing.
inch layer of fondant on that thing.
Yeah.
It did look beautiful,
But it was a
when
beautiful
I saw
marble.
how thick it was,
Mhm.
yeah, I was ooh. I think I said that out, and I was sitting at a table full of non-bakers, and I was just like, that fondant is way too thick.
In
But,
my world, a
she
millimeter
might
of
have done that
fondant
on
is too
purpose.
thick.
She might have
Probably,
done that on purpose.
you're probably right there, because if it had been a thinner fondant, it might have all like
It would have
gone
gone.
sideways,
Slid off,
like
yeah.
literally. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when you did that with your cake and it was starting to slide, because I've
Yeah.
had that happen to
Yeah.
me as well. You didn't pick it up with your hands and move it off. You got like a baking
Oh,
tray
yeah.
or something and slid underneath it, right? I mean, it was just this whole like
There was a lot of sliding and a lot of like, now what the heck do I do, because somebody literally has ordered this cake from me and I have to figure out how. So it was like, what scrapers do I have? How can I move this? I didn't do the knife trick. Who was that did the knife trick? Was that Guillaume?
Guillaume.
Yeah. It was the big slider thing that I slid under it, but I would have grabbed it with my hands if that was the only thing I could have done to stop it from pitching onto the floor.
Yeah, well, it was something. It was a scary moment for sure.
Yes.
Did anyone, what was your favorite cake of the, and you can't say Guillaume because he's hot.
I was going to, though.
He's kind of hot.
I know.
I honestly, when I saw the sketch of Jen's cake, as soon as I saw the sketch, my first thought was, based on the 2 bakes previous and that sketch, if she comes close to this sketch, she's Star Baker.
Yes.
And just looking at it, it was my aesthetic.
Yeah.
And then she started describing the flavors. I said, I'm eating that cake all day long.
Totally.
And when she brought out the cake and I said, that cake is the sketch. It's magnificent. It was beautiful.
It was.
Aesthetically, I would say that one, the banana split.
Oh, yep. Pamela's banana split cake was
and the sunburst.
Yeah.
The sunburst, just seeing that sketch, I was like,
Yeah.
whoa, that's going to be gorgeous.
And what an ambitious bake for Marcus to take on too, because he actually baked them in those cylinders, which is
I do not like baking half spheres at all.
So hard to do.
Why?
Totally tough.
They just bake forever.
Yeah, you have to bake them forever, and then they're really, really almost underbaked on the inside and super.
Well, yeah, because you've got
I've never had that.
I did once. I baked a round cake once.
I've done it a few times, and I have a few tricks that I use to help, just kind of conduct the heat better. And I use a heating core, and I use the cake strips, and I soak them, and I put the half sphere inside a 6-inch pan just to kind of really insulate it and everything, and that helps. But you still have to bake it for a really long time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
he did have the heating cores in his cakes, which is a good,
Yeah,
good,
that
He
definitely
did?
helps.
Oh, good catch.
Yeah, good, awesome.
yeah. But those were my 3 standout cakes too. Yeah. And I would
I
say
agree. Mine
probably
as well.
number 1, I mean, I love Jen's cake. It was beautiful, and perfection down to the core. I also thought Pamela's was equally
Yeah.
super well executed with the banana split. I loved how whimsical it was and the colors, and it was just such a beautiful, fun, happy cake. Yeah, I really enjoyed that one.
I
And
think with the with Pamela's cake, it was it was really, really beautiful, and I loved all of it.
yeah,
I think the thing that would have just put it right over the top is if she made it into a cartoon cake.
Mm,
That would have just put that cake right over the edge.
yeah,
Because she just put
The
like
black
black
lines and everything. Yeah.
black
Yeah.
outlines on everything.
Yeah.
It would have been just perfection.
but
Yeah.
she did say that she had never done it to time, and that her closest
Yes.
the closest that she came at home was half an hour over time. So it was impressive. She said she didn't get her last 2 cherries on, but to
Yeah.
see her put that cherry on top just at the last second was really impressive. To think she shaved, I mean, she kind of reminded me of you there, Steve, that she shaved that whole entire half hour off of her bake and came up with that. And I like the play on it. Like, it's a split cake, so it's a banana split
Banana
cake. Why
split.
not,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Same.
And
Really
I'll
love
be
that.
honest, when they cut into it, I was only concerned because banana, if you don't do it right, you're going to get a gummy cake, right?
Give me
And we had already seen a few in the showstopper at that point.
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
strawberry, and I can't remember the other one, but the strawberry. Who did the strawberry? I can't remember who did
Patty?
That was a Laura. Nope, sorry, that was Patty. Patty did the strawberry chunk impressionist cake.
Yeah.
Doing her palette knife work for the
People
first
don't
time.
bake with fresh strawberries, please. Roast your strawberries, use freeze dried. Do not use fresh strawberries. They're too watery. I'm
Mhm.
begging you, people.
Baking
Uh,
scraps.
or puree them
Yeah.
and
Yes.
reduce it.
And
Yes.
reduce it.
But
Get the water
Virgin
out.
also had a undercooked cake as well.
Yeah, he
Jen
did the
did, yes.
He had the
sage
pumpkin.
pumpkin maple cake.
Yeah,
Yes.
his was very like looked very translucent.
Yeah, Kyla really thought that the execution was excellent, but then Bruno said that the cake was gummy, unfortunately. Patty's palette knife work looked beautiful. It's unfortunate that the strawberries didn't really work too well. Let's talk about Rita's cake. And she was trying to make a bubbling glass of chocolate milk.
Loose.
And they were really concerned with the bubbles and the straw.
What did they make the bubbles out of? The chocolate.
Mousse.
The mousse.
Mousse,
Those were
yeah.
mousse.
Yeah.
Yes, the bubbles were mousse. The straw was mousse.
The straw
She
was
managed
mousse.
to get that
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
How did it not melt all over the place?
I don't know, because it was hot in that tent.
Yeah, and like she must have had a hell of a lot of gelatin or what stiffening agent in that to have it not melt.
Yeah,
Because
and
there's
they
no way
didn't
you could
mention
freeze
anything
it.
about how that would taste.
I don't remember them tasting them.
I don't think they tasted the mousse bubbles, did they? They
guess
might have, but
They
they didn't.
would have on the but I don't think they
But they
showed us
didn't
that.
comment.
Yeah, they didn't comment.
There must,
comments.
there must have been something going on with that.
They just said that they didn't think that her vision quite came to fruition with
Right.
the bubbles. And yeah, I mean, she did have success with the mousse and the straw, or sorry, the bubbles and the straw made out of mousse, but I think that it didn't kind of come together to give the effect that she really
Aesthetically
would have
it wasn't hitting the mark for sure.
yeah.
And,
But
and
a
at the
classic
end of the-
decadent chocolate cake.
but at the end of the day, it was a chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. When many other people, and nothing could be the best chocolate cake in the world,
Steve.
but when there are other things going on and people are doing, crazy flavors,
Mhm.
a chocolate cake with chocolate mousse is not going to do it.
Yeah.
Got to
Yeah.
step it up.
No,
Yeah,
you're
that's
right.
true.
But
Yeah.
I don't think the flavors for the showstoppers were quite as adventurous as the flavors that we got in the signature
No.
challenge,
That's
actually.
I
true.
agree.
So,
I agree.
they were a little safer in terms of the flavors. Like, there wasn't anything that was really crazy, like different.
Well, the sage pumpkin, I don't know, adding the sage in there was kind of I thought was a good idea or a neat idea, a
Yep.
different idea.
Yep.
But we've got
Very
Black
nice.
Forest cake, we've got Earl Grey and lemon cake,
Yep.
we've got chocolate cake,
Lemon blueberry.
banana cake, blueberry cake, and strawberry cake. So not a
Passion
whole.
fruit cake. The passion fruit
Oh yeah,
sounded
Guillaume.
Yeah,
delicious.
that
Is
sounded
that
really
Guillaume?
good.
Oh, with the almond
Marcus.
genoise. Yes.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
they said it was beautifully done, and the genoise was like really soft.
Yeah, it looked beautiful. I wanted to take a bite out of it too,
Yeah.
actually.
That looked
Oh,
really
and
good.
Erica made a mango lassi coconut
Mhm.
cake.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
mango lassi is one of my favorite things to have for like a bedtime snack. I love to make and put a little bit of cardamom in there. I wonder if she put cardamom and cinnamon in there, but I would have really liked to taste her mango lassi cake.
Yeah. I think, here's and again, I thought the flavor combination was beautiful, but I don't think the flavor for her cake necessarily matched the outside of her cake because it was a pumpkin patch cake.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought maybe there would be a good opportunity to
Pumpkin
kind of
cake.
more match the flavors, like
Yeah.
Jen did
Pumpkin
with
spice.
right. That would have been a perfect time to bring out a pumpkin spice or something like that, right? Or her
100%.
fall flavor. I found her flavor was very summer, very, very
Yeah.
summer and
Pumpkin and rose
beachy
water.
and
Like
beachy,
what
but
for
not
me,
pumpkin patch. But it was beautiful execution. Like the
Yeah.
outside of the cake was beautiful. The inside of the cake looked beautiful. I just don't know that the two of them necessarily came together. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think, when I was watching the episode, I thought, what would I do? And my thought was, talking about all this pumpkin, I was thinking I would do my pumpkin spice cake and I would make a pumpkin and I'd split the pumpkin, core it out, and then have little seeds, like
Yes.
pumpkin seeds that have been spiced, and just sort of have it spilling out of the pumpkin. I think that would be really, really cool. With
That
the,
is a
10
great
girls
idea.
and it wouldn't take that long,
Oh,
honestly. I mean, you
And it would be
basically,
impressive.
and it would be impressive.
very, yeah,
Yeah,
very
that's a great
clever.
idea.
Yeah, really clever.
Very clever.
He's
Okay,
got a
time to
plate.
talk
That's why
about.
this guy's got a plate. I'm telling you.
Yeah, no kidding. So Christine's cake. So she used her New Brunswick blueberries and she said she put in too many blueberries. So it got too wet and she ended up having to start over, which was the beginning of the end for our Christine. And so hard to watch. I think even if she's not your friend, it's hard to see because you know that this is somebody's time in the tent that is just not going the way that they would want it to go. I really liked that she was just like, okay, this is not good. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to start over. Let's just do this and make it happen. And she got it baked and she did a great job with the bake. And so once again, we're coming back to this whole idea of she didn't manage to get it split because she said, I have to get something on the plate. What she got on the plate was huge. So I totally agree with you. Not huge, it was complete. So I agree with you that if she had just cut it in half and split it, then perhaps she would have had a chance. And then one of the other bakers who had the gummy cakes would possibly have gone home instead.
Yeah, because she did get really good response from Kyla about the cake and the flavor and the bake itself.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And the look of it. She said it's beautiful. It would be a great wedding shower cake, she said. But yeah. Her saying that she was just improvising at that point. It was really one of those cases. Like I didn't shout at the TV in that case because I was just sitting there kind of a little bit heartbroken for her. But just like, I'm like, just cut it and do something with it if you're improvising, right? So I don't know what it was that actually happened in the tent that made it so that she didn't feel like she had time or that she couldn't do it or whatever. Maybe her feelings would have come out and she just didn't want to take that chance. But in the end,
listen, I mean, we're all armchair, coaching here, right?
It's really easy to do it from this.
Yeah, like we don't know what was going on. And it could have been, you're right. It could have been she had curd in it. I don't know. I don't remember. What did she have? Blueberry butter. She didn't have any curd in that.
I don't think it even said.
So.
No, I remember when they cut it open, it was like it had blueberries in the sponge and it had some blueberries in I think it was buttercream.
Yeah.
So yeah, there shouldn't have been any reason why she couldn't have just like slapped the cleavered it and just
and then.
But again, who knows? I don't know what was going on in the tent. It could have been like last minute. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I felt bad for her. I mean, it was just you could see how disappointed she was, and you could see her face and Rajan's face during the,
Announcements.
that decision, and one of them was going home.
Yeah.
And
And you could see it in the other bakers' faces as well, right? I think everybody kind of knew where it was going to end, I guess, or like after that bake, just how heartbroken everybody was for Christine
Yeah.
and for Regin as well, like when their bakes didn't turn out as well. So yeah, again, that love between all of the bakers and just that, yeah, I think, yeah, it's just that it's the special magic of the Great Canadian Baking Show. That part of it's a competition, but really it's not,
it's not.
it is,
Yeah.
but it's not.
No.
So it's that love for one another and the support for your fellow bakers in that tent. And that was definitely so evident,
Very evident.
especially at the end of that showstopper bake.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
during
it very quickly becomes, like, I'm talking immediately quickly, less about I want to win the plate than I want to stay so I can play with my friends. That's
Yeah.
really what it's about.
Yeah. And I think
That's why you're sad when you leave. It's not I didn't win. It's I have to leave my friends now.
Yeah. I could totally see that. Because I would imagine as stressful as the whole situation would be being in the tent, baking in the tent, there's also all that camaraderie and the fun of baking with friends in that environment and learning from each other and geeking out all about baking, 24/7 for as long as you're able to be in that tent and have that wonderful journey. Yeah. I mean, you guys are lucky you've had that experience. I think Lisa and I are sitting there going, oh my God, we so want that experience, right? To have that baking family and to be able to geek out like that. And, I think, it's a very special place. And
I think another thing too is, aside from, just wanting to be there and keep continuing baking and hanging around your friends. I mean, when you get the briefs and you have to develop all of these recipes and you pour your heart and soul into these recipes, that they are your babies. And then when those babies are not able to come to fruition and shown the way you intended them to be, it's kind of heartbreaking. It's like I put all this work into developing this recipe for my mother, my brother, my best friend, my husband, and now I'm not going to be able to show that appreciation for someone I love, right? I mean, look at Steve, right? He was able to make a bread ship for his wife, right? See?
Yep.
It would,
had her name on it and everything.
Yeah. So, like, what would have happened if you weren't able to build that ship? Like, I know for me that I just wanted to make it to episode 4. And that was it. If I made it to episode 4, I'm a winner, right? And I was able to do it. I was able to make that bake, and that was good for me, because every other bake other than that one was like gravy.
Yeah.
But that bake was the bake that for me was, I have to make this bake. It's gonna give me closure, and it was just a very special moment. So. And when you don't have that chance, it's heartbreaking.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's almost like a good piece of advice, though, that if you do get that opportunity to bake in that tent, maybe if there is something super special that you really want to do, maybe do it earlier on.
You gotta have something to shoot for.
Bring it on day 1, right?
Guaranteed.
Just to make sure you can totally get it in there.
How different would history be if Vincent had come in there and been like, I'm just gonna make this for my first bake, and be like, oh no, I don't even care. Okay. Just
but the pressure would be off, though, right? Because you're so concerned about making it to episode 4, and then what if you hadn't? What if episode 3 was the last? You would have been so heartbroken. So just go for the gusto, get it done, out of the way. And you're probably nervous about that because there's so much that goes into that special bake, right? So
it's pretty hard to make an oxtail cookie. right?
I don't think you're applying yourself, Vince.
No, no.
It's a cookie. It's full of oxtail stew. It's like,
Probably, yeah.
Seriously though, Vincent, I mean, for you, after that bake, was the pressures actually off? Because you were, yeah. Look at
Vincent,
Steve,
hello.
like shaking his head. Like I remember you saying, you were just like, "What is it? Chill out. It's just a,
yeah. It's just an eclair.
it's just an eclair,
Yeah.
right?"
That was actually episode 3. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I mean, you still put the pressure on yourself because you
Oh,
want
of
to be the
course.
best you possibly
Yeah.
can. So
Oh,
I
of
mean,
course. Of
but
course. I mean,
at least
as we
you
keep
had made
going.
it to that bake, that very special bake that honored your family. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was last night being at the watch party for Jen's that Jen put on. It was very exciting being there with all of her friends and all the people who have been cheering for her for the last 8 years to be able to get on this show. It was very noisy because every time she appeared on the screen, all the cheers and whoops would go up. And very, very, very exciting to see Jen get Star Baker. I'm thrilled for her. Congratulations, Jen. You are doing an amazing job. You did an amazing job in the tent. We're so excited to see what happens going forward. We're sad to lose Christine in the tent, but we're so, so grateful that she had the opportunity to do that and to be there and to be part of your alumni family. We're so excited that she's in there now. And she did a great job. We're really, really proud of our tart.
We are.
Well,
So,
thank you.
no, before you sign off,
I'm not signing off.
I would like to know
Okay.
each of your top 3s. Who do you think is going to be in the finals?
Okay. Well, we did discuss this a little bit earlier, and I think our top 3s are pretty close. Go ahead, Christina.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, well, Jen is definitely in my top 3. And Pamela, I have my eye on Pamela. And I'm kind of thinking it's hard because I didn't think of Marcus until Christina said, Marcus's stuff is really, really amazing. And so I think he is rounding out my top 3 as well. And I believe that's exactly what Christina had initially said was Jen, Pamela, and Marcus. Still have my eye on Erica.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I'm definitely feeling more and more solid on Marcus after seeing him.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of his stuff on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think and this is before we saw the episode when
we predicted that.
When we predicted those. And after seeing episode number 1, my top 3 are still the exact same. Yep. The same. I think Jen, super well deserved 3 very, very solid, exceptional bakes. I think, like she said, perseverance certainly does pay off. And I'm so happy and thrilled for her because she finally got that opportunity and she slayed week 1. And I have no doubt in my mind that she's going to continue slaying all the way to the final. Pamela as well. I think she is and she's lovely. She's kind of funny and quirky. But she does it in a very quiet way. I really like that. Like she's just, I don't know. I think her personality is going to come out, I think, as these episodes move forward. And I really want to see her go to the end too, because I think she's got mad skill. I think her flavor combinations are beautiful. The way she does that and her decorating style is really nice. I love the little whimsy that she has and just her details that she does put in her decor. Everything's very mindful and how it's placed, but it's not overdone either, right? It's not like all of the stuff. It's just it's very clean, sophisticated,
really like that.
But still has some whimsy and fun to it. And Marcus, crazy flavors. I was like not understanding the pumpkin rose water, but hey, go big or go home, especially in this competition. I think you have to stand out and you have to be different. But I think again, his decor is amazing. I think his son was brilliant.
I think
Wax Bake was amazing. I think he's got that out of the box kind of persona that I think will take him far as well. Those are my top 3.
Yeah. Let's hear yours.
Steve?
Oh, me. Oh, it's going to sound like a broken record, but Jen for sure. I don't have a question, but and before I go and I say the similar to you guys, again, I'm going to reiterate, all 10 are there because they can win. It's not even
Totally.
a question.
Absolutely.
And it just takes a bad day. And even if we look at them and say there's one who just stands out, if that person has a bad day, they're going home.
Mhm.
And as there are less and less bakers, a bad day stands out a whole lot more. There's not as many places to hide. But that being said, I think Jen for sure for me. Marcus has caught my eye without question.
Mhm.
Um, it sounds crazy to say. I'm not convinced Andre's not going to show up and take the whole thing from everyone, to be honest with you. He's just going to walk in with 5 minutes to go and knock something out of the park. But if he doesn't, I would have to say that, yeah, for me, it's Pamela, Erica. Um,
Hmm.
and it depends. Again, I've only just met them. I try really hard not to look at Instagram accounts when they all were announced.
Mhm.
I immediately started following them. I said hello to them, welcome them to the family.
Yeah.
But I did not dig deep, and you're going to see a few things, but that really is irrelevant. I've learned that it's completely because the tent is such an equalizer. There are
Mhm.
so many things that don't exist in your real life, and I mean, let's be honest, Instagram isn't real. Anyone who's listening, people,
True.
Instagram isn't real. It's not real. If someone's putting a picture of something that they made up there, it's because it's perfect in their eyes and they've taken it under perfect lighting and it's beautiful. I mean, there are people who are wise and do baking craps. Good for you for putting that out there. I put a fail every now and again, but for the most part, it's perfection sitting out there. So I don't look at that much. And I'll get to know them more as it goes on. Um, I love for me, there's personality too. There's maybe someone I'm cheering for that I'm thinking, I'm not sure if they're going to make it, but man,
I love watching them.
I
Be
like that
fun.
personality. As I said at the beginning, immediately Patty, I'd be thrilled to watch Patty
Yeah.
for 10 weeks straight or 8 weeks, 8 weeks, right? 10 people, 8 weeks. That fabulous.
I want to be your
Rajan, I
best
mean,
friend because she's
pardon
so
me?
much fun.
She
Yeah,
wants
I
to be
mean
your best friend.
and really all of them have qualities that I'm drawn to, both in personality and in baking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But because Vincent asked, and if I don't give him three, it's going to be a cop out, and he's going to yell at me and
And
berate me
bang
on
on your
camera.
door. Yeah.
So those are my four since I was asked for three.
There you go. I like how Vincent's sitting here listening to all of us and he's got this like
Hmm.
type
because
of
because
look on
he
his face.
has.
And I'm just waiting for him to tell us that we're wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think
Oh,
you're
he
wrong.
already knows we're wrong.
Well, it's such this is the first week.
Yeah.
I did not know anything about any of the bakers. Had a little bit of contact with Christine, but she's out. So now it's like equal playing field for me.
Mhm.
But Jen is very talented for sure. She's serious,
Mhm.
but she's a lovely, but she's also, I can see that she's got the eye of the tiger.
Mm.
Like you can just feel it.
Focus.
That yeah, she's focused,
Yeah.
and she may be kidding on the outside, but she is serious on the inside. You could just tell. So she's got the mentality to take it for sure, and the baking
Chops.
chops
Yeah.
to do it. Um, I like Marcus because I I I find that Marcus is a lot like I am. I
Mm.
think he's actually quite a perfectionist. He likes to have things really, really clean. I think he's going to be really organized.
Mhm.
And I think that he's also going to be producing some pretty beautiful work.
Mhm.
Um, now, the Marcus and the second, like Jenna's like sort of up here, and then it's kind of everybody else for me. I like.
He's gonna love to hear that.
No, that's
No,
true.
no pressure, Jen.
No, no
Yeah,
pressure.
yeah, no pressure, Jen.
You had 8
Thing
years
is
to
already
work on it.
finished.
Get it done. And of course, you know, Pamela is quite good. But you know, like you said, they're all great bakers. I have a soft spot for Guillaume.
Yeah, we know why. He could be the wild card. He's
He
the
is.
wild card
He's
for
the
me.
wild card because
There's always one.
Yep, and he is got like, you know, good, interesting flavors.
Yeah, I like
He's
his
got a great
flavors.
personality, and he's got a good personality in the tent that he doesn't seem to get rattled too much, right?
Yeah.
Like he just seems like he's having fun, but he's also doing really interesting things.
Yeah.
But everybody is great. I mean, I really enjoy all the other bakers as well. You know, obviously Rajan is just, I've mentioned he's a riot. Erica, her flavors are going to be great. Patty, you know, is great to watch. Rita, she frightens me, but she also intrigues me, and she makes me laugh. And you know, Laura, and you know, I usually hate geode cakes, hate them, but I was okay with hers.
The way that this was executed, yeah, it didn't look like your standard geode cake.
It didn't look like your standard body part. So
Because it was actually not part of the cake itself. It was like decor on the cake is how she presented the geodes. So
yeah,
exactly.
Because that's something that she does as part of her art is the geode art. And I think she did it very well in this cake. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying about Guillaume and how like he made this very intricate. We didn't actually talk about it. His moth that he was talking about. And on these 8 different pieces that he had to put together, and he's like, "Oh, I dropped the moth's head," you know. But he still was like, "All right, well, now we're just carrying on. I just gotta, you know, figure it out." And I think maybe this was too complex for the time, but okay, let's just work with what we have.
Yeah,
and and they appreciated it, and yeah, and his flavors are really cool. So
yeah, I think if he could clean up some of the decor stuff, or maybe had a little bit more time to be able to finesse the outside of his cake as much as the beauty of the inside of the cake. I think if he could get that magic going, I think he could be a real wild horse in this race.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long you get to watch him, Vincent.
Muscle t-shirts. Telling you, it goes a long way.
Yeah, that really helps you bake.
Probably keeps you cool.
Yeah.
Right? It keeps you cooler.
Yeah.
So maybe it does.
But you know, like I don't look at people's Instagrams at all. I will get for people I do follow, I get their posts as they come in, but I avoid watching people's Instagram pages because it freaks me out.
It freaks you out?
It freaks me out.
Like how so? What do you mean?
Yeah.
It makes me feel very insignificant.
Oh my God.
I look at people's stuff and I'm just like, oh my God. Like, honestly, you people are so talented, and wow, like what people can do. And it just freaks me out. I can't look at stuff.
Oh, Vincent, we love you.
Yeah, stop, because we've seen your stuff, right?
Like, my stuff is just my stuff.
No, and same with
Your
yours,
stuff is
Steve, and
beautiful.
same with yours, Lisa. I mean, I think when you're presenting something on Instagram, you know, it's nice to get some of those comments, right? Obviously, because I think you know, you kind of all like, you know, to hear how lovely something looks or whatever.
Sure.
But I think also when I look at other people's pages, yeah, absolutely, I'm in awe. But I'm also inspired by what I see and how people, you know, different decorating techniques or ideas that they, you know, put on their you know, how they're decorating, just out of the box things as well. Like I learned so much from seeing what other people are doing, and it's really inspiring.
It is inspiring.
Yeah, and it makes
100%.
me learn more techniques and figure out how to do something and play a little bit more instead of staying in that safe box that maybe sometimes we feel a bit more comfortable in staying, right? And there's nothing wrong with that either. I think, staying in your lane, I think when we had our chat with you on our podcast, I think that's one of the things that you talked about is that it's okay not to be good at absolutely everything, but if you know what you're really good at and sticking to sort of that formula, that's going to serve you well and bring you far if you do decide to be part of a crazy cooking or baking competition.
It's also a good base, right? Like if you have a certain style, like I definitely have a certain aesthetic and a certain style that I go by. But at the same time, you're right. I don't go searching for things like in terms of people's Instagram pages and stuff like that. But as they pop up for people I follow, and it's like, oh, that's really cool, or that's an interesting technique. How can I make that my own?
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
My base and my core who I am, and then I will incorporate that technique into what I do to make it look like something I did.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. And one of the things that I'm so trying to learn how to do, and I just can't seem to get it, is palette knife flowers. Like I cannot make. You see a scoop and it's like a petal. It's like, how the hell did you do that? It's just incredible. Like those Korean women. Holy!
Oh my goodness, so amazing. Her stuff.
It is. It's incredible.
Butter and blossoms. Yeah.
Yeah, or Yumi as well. I think it's another person, but really, really good. Like amazing work. And so butter, definitely palette knife stuff is something that I really, really want to learn how to do. But and I've also learned, because I did communicate with some of these people, and one of the Korean ladies, she's like, I said, what kind of icing do you use to get these beautiful petals, like so stable and not floppy? And they use bean paste.
Oh,
It's bean paste buttercream.
Bean paste buttercream.
Yes. You take beans, like white beans.
Yep.
And you boil the living heck out of them, and then you just add sugar to them, and then you put it through a fine screen, and you sort of mash it all, and then you add more sugar to it. I don't know if you actually add butter. I think you do add a little bit of butter to it, but it's just, and it makes this really thick and stable material that you can really just scoop, and it's smooth and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
I wonder how it would taste too,
because it would taste great.
Oh, red bean paste is used a lot.
Bean paste is
so I don't know what the white bean paste would taste like, but I would assume you can make anything taste good with it.
It's gonna have it's not gonna have that. It's not gonna have that silky smoothness that you get. It's gonna have a little bit of grit to it.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be delicious.
Yeah. But just a different texture that you're normally used to.
Yeah. But that's one thing that is on my list of I thought I learned how to do this because it's so gorgeous. Yeah.
Like you said, there's so many talented people.
Steve, can you do palette knife flowers?
I haven't tried, but I can't imagine. I look at it and my thought is, how tough can it be?
We got to get you on
put me on a competition and I'll do it.
Put you in the Great Butter Blossom Showdown.
There you go. There you go. I've done them. I've done them on a couple of cakes. I did them for season 4. We were season 5, right? Season 4 or 5, 4 or 5. My audition cake through the Zoom where I had to show something I baked, and that one actually had palette knife flowers on it. It was the only time I've ever done palette knife flowers.
Okay.
It looked really nice. I liked it.
Can.
I suppose.
He accidentally did that one time and it worked.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just Steve,
when I was little, my dad oil painted it was something he did when he was young, and he one day he taught me how to paint, but he never used brushes. He used palette knives. Right. So I painted an oil painting over a weekend with him when I was like 11. And it was all palette knife painting. So maybe it's in my hand somewhere.
It must be.
But but I'd have to now I got to take a look at these flowers to see what I'm up against.
Yes,
See what I could
they're
do.
amazing. Well,
It's
you
got to
guys,
be easier than piping. It's got to be.
really? I don't
Yeah.
know.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think it is. I've tried it. I
Piping
don't.
just my wrist hurts. It's sore. It's ah.
So
Make
as
it
we
Make it
you're not doing
wrap
it
up
chocolate.
here,
Just make it out of chocolate. It's so much easier.
I have to show you guys what Jen was giving out at the end of her watch party yesterday to everybody who attended.
Butter tarts
Butter tarts
with or
with
without
raisins
raisins.
With raisins?
She has 4 different kinds.
Oh, 4 different
pecans,
kinds. Okay,
raisins,
so
plain.
I think her
Fully
family
loaded.
has five raisins and a pecan is her traditional family recipe for her butter tarts, I believe.
Oh, see, that's one of the ones. That's the fully
Is
loaded one
there
this year.
any of them with bacon?
There's no bacon. No.
Okay. Because if you've had a bacon butter tart, then you know really screw the raisins or no raisins, bacon.
Bacon or no bacon
like
is our
that.
next. Is
Oh
our
no, no,
next
no.
question.
There's no such thing as no bacon if bacon's an option ever.
Oh man. Well, next week is cookie week. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all shapes up, and I'm
Mhm.
looking forward to it. Thank you both for being here with us today.
Thank
I
you.
really, really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule and missing your yoga class.
He'll take yoga later. Don't worry. He'll
Steve,
be
you had to
fine.
miss your yoga class?
I just did it in my family room when I woke up today instead.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly do appreciate your guys's point of view and the chatter back and forth and so much fun as always. Hopefully we can do this again.
Yeah.
Happy to.
Welcome back
Absolutely, anytime.
anytime. Love to have you.
I'll wear
All
my
right.
beret next time instead.
Oh,
Oh,
that yes, your
Maybe
French
for if
beret.
they have patisserie week, that
Mhm.
would be a perfect week for you to wear the little red beret.
Oui, oui.
And then we could all have like the little French.
There you go.
I'd shave down the beard and put on a little French curly Q mustache. I can
Yeah,
do that.
we know that you do not shy away from shaving that beard if there's a really good reason to do it.
There's always a really good reason somewhere.
You got to convince my husband of that. But I would like to see his face one of these days.
I got to get the chainsaw out for that one.
Yeah, that's very true. All right. So we will be heading off, and you guys have a wonderful evening. Thank you to everybody
Thanks.
who's watching, and we look forward to more recaps and more of our regular episodes, which of course are going to continue airing on Tuesdays. Thank you all. Happy baking. We'll talk
Happy
soon.
baking, everyone.
Thank you.
Happy baking. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.